More money does actually mean more problems for the IRS. Missouri licensing practices have the industry in an uproar, and today Canopy Growth is sounding a bit like an oxymoron. Today is March 6th, and this is your TRICHOMES Morning Buzz.
Broadcasting live from the TRICHOMES.com studios in Southern California, it's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
U.S. Treasury Secretary says cannabis cash creates a problem for the IRS. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin said on Wednesday that the IRS faces significant problems due to the cash-only nature of the cannabis industry and urged lawmakers to address the issue one way or another. Mnuchin says in remarks to the House Appropriations subcommittee via The Hill, "We have to build cash rooms to take in large amounts of cash where people owe us taxes because we want to collect the taxes and those entities are not banked. It's up to the discretion of service providers to allow cannabis operators access to traditional financial services." Last September, House lawmakers passed the Safe Banking Act, which would explicitly allow cannabis businesses access to financial services. However, that measure has not yet been voted on by the Republican-controlled Senate. Senator Mike Crapo, the chair of the Chamber's Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee, does not support the legislation, but keep those fingers crossed.
More than 800 rejected cannabis license applicants in Missouri file appeals. More than 800 appeals have been filed by companies that were denied state licenses to operate a medical cannabis business in Missouri, with many of the appeals arguing that the scoring system used in the licensing process was flawed, the Associated Press reports. The state received 2,266 industry applicants by at least 700 groups for just 60 cultivation licenses, 86 manufacturers, and 192 dispensaries. Nevada-based Wise Health Solutions was hired to score the applications, and some rejected applicants argue that the firm assigned different scores for the same answers on applications, the report says. A review by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch found that about 24 groups that each won 5 or more licenses had ties to out-of-state cannabis businesses or the Missouri Medical Cannabis Trade Association. The process is also subject to at least one lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of the licenses, arguing that the cultivation license cap violates a state constitutional right to farm, according to an MJ Biz Daily report.
Canopy Growth has shut down facilities and cut 500 jobs. The company announced this week that it was shutting down 2 of its cannabis production facilities in British Columbia and eliminating roughly 500 related jobs. Canopy also said that it no longer planned to begin production in a 3rd facility in Ontario. U.S. traded shares of Canopy fell more than 1.4% in the extended session. The company said that it expects to record a pre-tax charge of $700 million Canadian to $800 million Canadian related to Wednesday's announcement and additional changes to the company. The British Columbia greenhouses account for 3 million square feet and began operating in February 2018. Canopy said that its outdoor production now offers a cheaper way to grow cannabis than greenhouses and blamed the recreational market's slower than anticipated development for creating working capital and profitability challenges across the industry.
And finally, some good news. Mexican lawmakers are a step closer to legalizing cannabis. According to Hemp Industry Daily, 3 separate Senate panels approved legislation that would legalize all forms of cannabis, sending the measure to the full Senate. It will still require a vote in another chamber after that. Although there's still steps to go, the bill is expected to pass because the ruling party that supports the measure has enough votes. If the measure becomes law, Mexico would have the largest legal adult use market of cannabis with a population of 130 million. The bill would legalize possession of cannabis up to 28 grams and decriminalize up to 200 grams. It would also allow the plant to be grown at home with restrictions. A cannabis agency would also be created to regulate the commercial opportunities and issue licenses.
And that was today's Buzz. Sound off on these stories and more at trichomes.com/morningbuzz, and be sure to follow us on all social media platforms. My name is Allison Ben-Yehuda.
And my name is David Fortin. Have a good one.